Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 12, Episode 29, overall 634 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, hosted by yours truly, Chris Palme, and brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership, located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Gulf Auto Mall. Check out their website, barrycullen.com, for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of all-electric vehicles and Cadillac vehicles as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership has been family-run and operated here in the city of Gulf since 1969. I hope everybody is doing well on this Monday, December 15th, 2025. We're about a week and a half, 10 days away from Christmas and the holiday season. And I'm looking forward to my guest tonight. It's her first appearance on our show. I met her through TikTok, and she's the founder and owner of Yay Vision Counseling and Wellness. She's a licensed professional mental health counselor in the city of Philadelphia. Hopefully a Philadelphia Eagles fan too, by the way. And we're going to bring her on in one moment. Her name is Dr. Psyche Young, and we're going to bring her on right now. Good evening. How are you, Dr. Young?
Good evening, Chris. I'm quite fine, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
How's things in the city of Philadelphia besides the Eagles winning yesterday?
Oh, yes, I know. This is such a rich sports town. It's pretty cold, but I know the fans were out. I know they were out. It's pretty good.
How are you guys handling getting some cold weather and some snow?
You know what? We're just trying to be careful. The roads can get really messy, but the city areas, they do a pretty good job of cleaning up, and the residential areas, we got to be careful, But yeah, every year we prepare. So.
By the way, in your background, I used your logo, if that's okay.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you for that. The butterfly. I like it. Thank you.
Very well. And I got to ask you this, since I was going to bring it up later, but how did you come about branding and marketing your name?
Mm-hmm. So it's actually called Yah Vision Counseling and Wellness. And the Yah part comes from Yahweh. That's just the original name for God that I used. Yah Vision Counseling and Wellness. And it goes back to a story of, being shown that I was going to become a therapist, and, just in terms of my spiritual life, having an enlightening moment where I was kind of shown, like, this is what I want you to do with your life. And here we are.
Are you ready for the holiday season?
Getting there. I often have to remind myself it's like next week and a half about. Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm trying to be in that zone, mostly for the kids, hubby and I, but for the kids, we want to make it a little special. So I'm getting there. I'm a little late, confession.
Snow or no snow for Christmas?
I like when it snows, when I don't have to be out in it, Chris, when I don't have to be outside. I love when it snows.
What's your favorite Christmas movie and Christmas song?
Oh my goodness. So my favorite Christmas song is definitely Carol of the Bells. I love that one, Carol of the Bells. And maybe a Christmas movie, maybe just a Christmas movie. The one with Ralphie, I think his name was. Yeah, might be still the classics, stuff that I grew up with,
Favorite Christmas food and dessert?
Oh my goodness. So definitely for the food, I'm probably going to go with like a mac and cheese pie with the 3 different kinds of cheeses, Chris. Yeah. For dessert.
Now I'm hungry. Now
you're hungry. Listen, and we'll do it every time. Yeah. And maybe some sweet potato pie with like maybe some like a mix with sweet potato pie and ice cream. Don't tell anybody, but I mix mine sometimes.
Homemade macaroni and cheese is the best. Normally, I usually have the traditional ham and mashed potatoes for Christmas,
Yeah.
but this year I think I'm gonna get homemade lasagna.
Well, there
I
you
love
go.
lasagna, so
There you
I
go.
want to switch it up. Like every year it's the same thing. So I think
Right.
this year it's gonna be homemade lasagna.
Right. Yeah. We did a seafood lasagna for Thanksgiving, so I feel you. I know. Yeah.
I want to say thank you so much, Dr. Young, for coming on here today. And I'm based out of Toronto. Are you able to tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what did you develop an interest in being into getting into the therapy industry?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I am a licensed psychotherapist here, licensed in the state of PA. I've been a therapist now for about 11 years. My specialty is marriage and family therapy. And so that's what my PhD is in, marriage and family therapy. And I love what I do. And as I said before, I feel like it's a part of a calling and a purpose. And I believe my interest started years ago when I was a teenager. My mom was in social work, and so she would share some stories of her experience in social work, and it piqued my interest. Then when I did my undergrad back in the 90s, I'm dating myself now, back in the 90s, I did a course, Intro to Psych 1 and Intro to Psych 2. And I was always fascinated with human behavior, but it wasn't until I took those two courses. I think I just did it as a part of an elective, like to make up some credits. Wasn't until I did those two, I fell in love with just human behavior, studying the human condition. And that's where we are now. After that, it took me a while to get into grad school, to get my studies going. I was busy, creating a family. But once I got going, it's been that ever since. Mental health, ever since.
We have a viewer watching, and she was just on my show Friday. She's a registered nurse and a nutritional coach here in the Toronto area. Her name's Callie Drew, and she wants to say she's watching on YouTube, so she likes food too, and she talks about it because she's a nutritionist. She just says yummy, yummy, and I want to say thank you to Callie Drew for watching, and she was a great guest the other day too on my show.
Oh, hey, Kelly.
And she's on TikTok too, by the way, and I joined TikTok 5 years ago and I thought it was ridiculous. I was too old for it. It was not. Somebody said if you want to get into radio and media, you need to get on TikTok. And 5 years later, I've really learned how to create content. And I've had a number of guests on from TikTok, including Kelly and now yourself.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. That's great success for you. Yeah, keep it going. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Now, I know there's different types of therapists. Can you just explain to our audience a little bit about different types of therapists and maybe the difference between a therapist and a shrink, they call them?
Right. So it's very different. And I'll try to break it down as best I can. So you have someone who is into psychology, which, they would be a licensed psychologist, and usually they'll go right up to the doctoral level, and they do a lot of assessments and evaluations and sometimes therapy. They can't prescribe, right? So even though they're a doctor, they can't prescribe. Similarly, for me, with a doctorate in marriage and family therapy, I am a doctor PhD. I can't prescribe either, but I can conduct, certain assessments, family assessments, do traditional individual therapy, couples therapy, family therapy, psychologists can too, but in terms of like a specialty and background, they might do more of the evaluative side. Now, psychiatrists, if you remember, are MDs first, and they specialize in psychiatry. Now, they're the ones that are called the prescribers. They can prescribe. And back in the day, they used to do more therapy. Now they're just focused on medication management. So I like to break down the difference because people don't really know. And they see the doctor part and they think, oh, you're a prescriber. And actually, we're not. We're a doctor in terms of discipline and what we studied and the research that we've done, but we're not prescribers. So psychiatrists who are actually MDs first and who branch out into specializing in psychiatry, they can prescribe. Yeah. And psychiatric nurse practitioners can prescribe as well. Right. So they're not necessarily doctors, but they have the same prescribing capabilities. And then, of course, you have social workers of different disciplines who can also do therapy. But again, they can't prescribe. Yeah.
Thank you for explaining that. And Kelly has another comment. Hi, I'm with you, enjoying human behavior. Being a registered nurse, you see all kinds of things.
Okay, I love it. I think we're fascinating beings, right? And I still get fascinated by us every day as human beings. Yeah.
Dr. Young, do you find that during the pandemic and after the pandemic, mental health is kind of diminished, and more people are now seeing therapists. And the stereotype too in the old days was if you went and saw a shrink or a therapist, there was something wrong with you, which is not the case.
Right, right. And I don't subscribe to that kind of thinking that there's something wrong. We all need different levels of support for different reasons, right? And life can definitely get stressful. And the pandemic brought a whole host of other kinds of stressors that we didn't know we would have to deal with at the time, right? So being isolated, feeling isolated, being away from family, having things happen where you can't get to your family. You had limited access. You had to be home, with your family, and the online, working online and transitioning kids to online learning. And it was a lot of transitions all at once. So no doubt there was some decline in how a lot of us, coped and functioned. So and it wasn't just the pandemic, but I feel like that experience of the pandemic highlighted and heightened some of what might have been already there, right? And it really tested our coping skills. So definitely there's been increased anxiety, increased depressed mood in some people. Social skills are now stunted coming from the pandemic. So there's been a lot that we've seen from that period of time, those few years there.
What are your thoughts on the impact of social media in their internet? There's been a lot of good impacts of it, but I think it's kind of shrunk people's social skills as well, and communication skills.
Well, that can happen because you want to look at what's included in being very social, right? You have someone in front of you, you're in front of them. It's very reciprocal. So a lot of the social cues, the skills, the reciprocity, the eye contact, being able to pick up on behaviors that are in front of you, a lot of that is lost because now we're all behind our screens, right? Some people are very much more comfortable behind a screen. Their confidence levels are impacted. Their self-worth sometimes is impacted now because you're kind of behind the screen, just viewing life, the version of it that people present us with. Sometimes we're comparing ourselves to people that we're seeing online. So there's a lot that's being stunted, and sometimes that social skill is lost, and there's that comparison trap that we often fall into. So there's a lot that happens when we're only engaging via this medium. I think there's so many benefits though to engaging via social media, but you have to very much be careful. You have to be careful about how you do it. What you're exposing yourself to, the information that we're taking in. A lot of it is very stimulating. We're all kind of overstimulated and like over consuming a lot, right, on social media. So you want to set limits and have some boundaries with how you navigate it. Make sure that you have a strong self-worth and self-concept, because it can be very much skewered by your social media interaction if you're not careful. You want to make sure you're accessing safer spaces and not toxic spaces. And so there's a lot that we can say here. You might need another session for that.
Absolutely. I wanted to get your thoughts on the country of Australia banning social media to kids under 16 years of age.
I heard about that the other day. And I feel like there's some merits to it, but I don't know why. Maybe they felt like they didn't want to leave that up to the parents to kind of navigate. It's interesting. It's gonna help to regulate some things, but it might, depending on how it's handled, there's some advantages to it, and I think there might be disadvantages to it. I feel like the kids will find a way. They'll find a way to circumvent this, and yeah, they'll find a way. And then so it's really how we regulate that, and individual homes and families, how you police that. Right. Yeah. But I see the effort. I see the effort. I'm not sure how effective it'll be, but we'll see. We'll definitely see.
What are your thoughts on AI, and do you find AI will eventually enter into the therapy industry as well?
I think it has already, Chris, right? So I look at it in terms of, here's what's good about that technology, right? We have, especially coming out of the pandemic, there's so many different options now for therapy, and you don't necessarily have to be in person. I still prefer in person, but with the wave of telehealth options and AI options, it certainly has afforded more access to something like therapy. And I love that. I love the advancement in it that way. Now, if you're talking about some of the systems, I still think that you need a human element to it, especially for something like therapy. There's too much that we have to do and assess as a human being that AI will never be able to do. Right. And I know it might sound like they can do it, but I think there's so many limitations because you don't have that human element. But I think in terms of the quicker access to information and, making sure that certain assessments are standardized, things like that, AI is wonderful for that. But there are so many different areas of assessing and evaluating. You're still going to need a human being. That's just my take on it. Yeah.
As much as I love doing this show virtually,
yeah,
there's nothing better than when I do live interviews. Like, as much as I love the virtual setup, when I'm at sporting events doing freelance media work, interviewing coaches and players, or I'm at festivals and different events I'm covering, doing freelance media, there's nothing better than in person. I think you get more out of a person in person than virtually, but virtually is good too. Don't get me wrong, but in person, I'm old school. I still like the old phone calls, and I do like the live in person interviews too.
Yeah, it's a different energy, if you're thinking of human beings and like the energy that we bring and just having, a warmth in a space, you can't feel that virtually, right? That's something that you feel in person with someone, the genuineness of it all. You kind of get that. I do love that the AI affords us, like I said, easier access and quicker access to things. It can help us standardize things a little faster, standardize tests and standardize assessments. And, it's quicker in that sense. But we still want to have, I think, a human being come, to kind of confirm and verify and look at everything again, because we need that human touch. And I feel like the day we lose sight of that, I don't know about that, right? Yeah. So it's like, imagine being in front of a screen, but your therapist is like a virtual therapist, and they're picking up on some of your facial cues, they're picking up on body language, but that can only go but so far. Right? They're looking at part of you're seeing me now from like my chest up, but you might not be seeing other things with my presentation that a live therapist would pick up on, which tells us so much about how a person is functioning, just looking at how you're presenting, So AI can, it can help and it can go but so far, but let's not lose sight of the value of the human element, right? That's just my 2 cents on that.
Dr. Young, do you find that empathy and listening skills have shrunk over time too?
I think it depends on the context and maybe the person and what's going on there. I do feel like the depth that a person can go to access that empathy and compassion, it might be stunted in some people only because of how we've been made to interact with one another now. And I think we're desensitized to a lot, if that makes sense. So when you're desensitized to a lot, then you're not necessarily showing up with an empathetic stance or a compassionate stance, because now your sensitization to it, it's gone, and we have to be careful with that. You have to be careful with that, because it means our relationships are going to change, right? The way we relate to another person is going to change. Our kindness, our ability to show up in an authentic, genuine way, it might be a little affected there. So there's something to that question. Thank you for asking that, actually. Yeah.
You're welcome. And I've learned too, when I first started doing this show 6 years ago, I scripted everything, and I had a couple of professional guests come on from broadcasting and sports, and they gave me some good advice, like write your notes and points down, but listen to your guests.
Absolutely.
And you can also think on your feet, ad-libbing too. And I'm sure that's, you have to do that as well. So I find a natural conversation is better than something that's scripted.
You're right. And there's so much more when it's open-ended and you can kind of just talk. And, you as the interviewer, you'd have to interject if I start rambling. Okay.
And I was in security for 23 and a half years. So at the end, I went to a work divorce and I wanted to get out. I wanted to switch careers. But that career kind of prepared me for this, because when you're in security, you deal with all walks of life. I had to deal with mental health issues. I had to deal with people who had drinking too much, substance abuse, gambling addiction. So that career kind of prepared me for this.
Right. That sounds, yeah, it would, because you're any kind of human service position is what I look at it. This is human services. I'm providing a human service every day, showing up with my, clinical skills and capabilities and expertise to help other people cope, to help them heal, help them arrive at a different version of themselves that they feel is healthier, so human services, it could be tough work, but it's very rewarding too.
How much of an impact has social media and the internet had on your business as well as TikTok?
Oh, well, certainly, just in terms of more of a platform and all the different, platforms that we have, I'm reaching a wider audience. Yeah, I hope I am reaching a wider audience with that message of wellness. And that's kind of how I brand myself on TikTok mostly. Mental health and wellness, I kind of group them together. I'm not just dealing with emotions and feelings, and I'm very holistic in my approach. So I tend to treat the whole person. I want to know that you're holistically well, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, all of that, right? So that's kind of how I brand myself in terms of a wellness professional. And so I often check on, I ask my clients, well, are you sleeping okay? Because if you're lacking sleep, it affects your functioning. Are you eating well? Are you getting enough of that nutritional value? Because as you know, if you lack certain nutrients and minerals and vitamins, you're just not going to function well. So not just with the emotions and the feelings, but I also holistically want to know that in your life, your lifestyle is healthy, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Now, taking the holistic approach, how important is it to follow and keep up on the latest trends? And how important is the education part of it and reading new stuff?
Mm-hmm. I think it depends on the discipline you're in or the field you're in, and what you're interested in sharing on these platforms. Certainly, from that educational standpoint, any new research that's out there, you want to be well versed in that. You want to be well versed in different, for instance, for me, therapeutic modalities and different new trainings that they might have, and what are some of the research findings yielding in this day and age in the therapy world, in the mental health field, right? So I think it depends. If you're into filmmaking, there's stuff you want to keep up on. If you're an educator in general, there's things that you want to be abreast of. And that's how I kind of use social media for me, staying abreast of things, looking at the healthy spaces, being a part of a healthy space and facilitating all of that. And I feel like if you are using it constructively that way, social media platforms are extremely helpful. You're reaching a wider audience. You're staying abreast of some of the trends, but you're also using good judgment with the trends, because not every trend is based on clinical, it's not based on like evidence-based, practices, right? Sometimes it might be a trend because someone made it popular, but is it backed by something evidence-based, which in my field, got to be careful with that, right? I can't pick up on every trend as a therapist and start using it. My stuff has to be evidence-based. Right. Yeah.
Dr. Young, for those people that are watching this show live stream or later on audio platforms, and they're looking to get into the therapy industry, what advice would you give to them from your past experiences?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would first say really explore and examine your why for doing this kind of work. And it's not just that, oh, I'm a people person, right? Because you're going to have more than just being a people person or just, loving people. You have to have an interest in, looking at how we function, both in our cognitive, our thinking, and behaviorally too. And you want to look at how life and life stressors affect us mentally and physiologically, physically too. So things like trauma, how we're affected by that, and be ready to be open to learning many different disciplines. So then you can decide on what specialty you're going to go into. So when you're in training, and social workers training might be slightly different from maybe just a regular mental health counsel, which is slightly different from marriage and family therapy and substance abuse counseling. And, we all have some overlapping training that we do when we're working with various populations. So, have an openness to learn, be receptive to the fact that you're dealing with various walks of life, human beings of various populations, and that you have to show up authentically. You have to love this work. This is not easy work. Don't think you're coming in and you're going to get like $1 million being a therapist. Absolutely not. You have to love people and genuinely want to help them to be able to do this work. So let's like kind of look at the realistic aspects of it, and check your motivations, right? Check your reason, check your why when you're coming into a field like this. Because it's might surprise you in a good way, but it might surprise you in the other way too.
It's just like being in the radio, the media industry, or even doing the live streaming talk show. I do it because I do like connecting with people, but the storytelling aspect and the learning, I learn something every show I do with the guest.
Yeah. And our clients teach us too. We come in with a certain clinical background and knowledge and expertise, but we're learning from another human being too. There's not really a hierarchy in this. I can only show up as my authentic self as much as some of my clients let me into their lives, right? As much as they're honest with me and transparent with me and, expressive with me. And I now would have the skills and the clinical knowledge to facilitate that and help them to trust me, by how I build that rapport with them, right? So it's not just like I'm coming in with my textbook stuff and just applying it to everybody. I have to tailor my approach to who's sitting in front of me and what they're saying their presenting issue is, and what their goals in life are. I can't come with a prescribed way of doing things for each and every person. Everybody's a little different.
Dr. Young, what's the holiday season here? For some people, it's a happy time. For some people, it's a sad time.
Yeah.
Do you find your business increases during the holiday season? Because there is a lot of stress with the cost of living, high price of everything, or sometimes people don't like or get along with their families.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to get your thoughts on the holiday season. And you did a little video, too, the other day on loneliness, and I was going to play that clip as well.
Oh, thank you. I do feel like there are some people who some of the symptoms can be, intensified, if I could say, during this season, because there's so much pressure. A lot of the holidays are so commercialized now, and we feel like we have to kind of keep up with all of this. But really, it's what's going on with you, what's going on with your family, it's your value systems, the way you were brought up. It's all those things mixed together. And nowadays, cost of living is hard. So when things are commercialized, you feel the pressure to buy and purchase and be a part of and do all the things. And not everyone can cope well with that, and some people have experienced really significant losses with family members just no longer being around for the holidays.
My dad passed away 40 years ago, December 23rd, 85.
Oh, very close to Christmas. My condolences to you. Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. That would have been definitely tough for you, and you would have been quite young.
I was 13 at the time, and it took me 2 years to get over it. It was really a really difficult time in my life.
Yeah. And see, I can appreciate you saying that, and you just used a term that I don't like using for myself and what I do. You said it took you a while to get over it. I look at it as a working through. It's like more of a working through, especially when it comes to grief. Grief and loss are very, very, it's very signature to the person experiencing it. And yes, there's a commonality in we don't have this person anymore, but each person can experience it a little bit differently. And you want to learn to live alongside grief in a healthy way. The feelings of loss never really leave you. I think they become less intense over time. And you learn to live with it and cope with it as best you can. And so holidays, for those reasons, the heightened stress because of maybe financial circumstances, or feeling the pressure to stay up with trends and the commercialized aspect of it, or not being close to family because now the holidays remind you that maybe you don't have access to your family or you've lost family. So the time of year can certainly stir up a lot. And I feel like I think the symptoms are heightened sometimes during this time of year. It can be. Definitely people can become more anxious or the stress elevates or the depressed mood intensifies for a time. And sometimes just the change in weather, really, the change in the season.
Lack of sunlight. Lack of sunlight.
Yeah, that lack of sunlight and the vitamin D. And the vitamin D is a natural mood enhancer, right? Sunlight is a natural mood enhancer. So some people, when they don't have enough of that, it can affect their functioning too. So there's a lot to consider. And there is such a thing as seasonal affective disorder, just that, when the days get, is it shorter? Yeah. And it gets like 5 o'clock. It's daytime in your head, intellectually it's daytime, but it looks like nighttime. And you're thinking this day is over, it does something to you. So we look out for that. And to answer your question, sometimes there could be a pattern of more people kind of reconnecting as the holidays approach for therapy. But sometimes people take a break too, because now they're busy with their families, right? And so I think January, just because of like right after the holidays, there can be that uptick in clients coming in because now it's the start of a new year. Oh, I'm going to get back into therapy. I have all these goals. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Come January, there's that like influx of new people. Yeah. Or people returning and wanting to re-engage for their services.
Dr. Young, I'm going to play this little clip. It's from your Instagram page. How can people follow you on social media and your Instagram page?
Oh, thank you. So my handle on most of my professional pages is going to be YaVision. So you're going to see YaVision Counseling, or you'll just see YaVision, YAH, and the word vision, VISION. So you're going to see YaVision Counseling. And that's going to be me, most likely, YaVision Counseling. And I'm on Facebook, my professional page on Facebook, on Instagram. TikTok, it's a little different. TikTok is more of a broader branding of wellness and holistic wellness. And I'm there as Dr. Young Mom, right? So Dr. Young Mom, I should pop up. I don't know if there are many Dr. Young Moms on there, but Dr. Young Mom 76, I should pop up. I use different spaces for different things. I have, of course, my personal pages, but then I have my professional pages are all going to be YaVision Counseling. YaVision Counseling is going to be my handle. And, there's an email address there. It's going to be yavisioncw@gmail.com. My website is yavisioncw.com. So, and that's key because there's another YaVision something. It's another business, but mine is YaVision CW for that counseling and wellness, CW.com. And I'm pretty easy to find. I'm pretty easy to find and connect to. So anyone who is interested in reaching out, if you feel like you need therapeutic support, I've been doing this for 11 years. You can find me through some of my socials, I prefer the website and inquiring through there. But usually if you reach out via socials, I'll just redirect you to, how I do it professionally and have you look at all the different options to engage for treatment. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to play the little video clip now from your Instagram page about loneliness during the holiday season. Wow. And some tips. I thought it was really good. Please let me know if you can hear it. I am the audio guy. So if you can't hear it, we'll fire the audio guy. Just 1 second.
Okay.
If you struggle with feelings of loneliness, listen up. Here are 3 tips and strategies to fight loneliness in general and particularly during the holidays. Try joining a community group or volunteering at a certain organization that you might love, maybe even like a soup kitchen, because doing something that's service-oriented can really help to fight feelings of loneliness. Try that. Is there anyone that you haven't connected with in a while and you want to try reconnecting with? You can initiate that. It might surprise you. Try reconnecting with someone, that you used to get along with, or, someone even in your family. But try reconnection, reaching out, initiating. That can help, fight feelings of loneliness too. And it's okay to indulge in positive experiences. Give yourself new experiences so you can have new meaning, and that can help fight feelings of loneliness too. Do an activity that you've never done. Maybe a pottery class, something creative. Try a sport or a different skill that you've never tried before. Sometimes just self-indulging can be great to fight loneliness. I know I said 3, but I got to say this one. Adjust your mindset. Moments of solitude doesn't have to mean that you allow lonely feelings to come in. You can enjoy time with yourself in solitude, doing something meaningful and positive and enriching, and not necessarily feel lonely, right? Yeah. And if all else fails, you can come on here and chat with me. Yeah. Be sure to connect and share this out to a few people who might find it helpful. Bless you guys.
Thoughts on that video that you posted on Instagram?
These are things that I recommend for my clients too. So I thought, every now and then I'm going to be sharing something that's like really like some nuggets that people can take away. My content is going to be a mix of, something that I'm teaching, or I do live hosting as well. So I do live host sessions streaming on certain topics. And sometimes it's a little lighter. Sometimes it's signature to the TikTok experience, but other times it is mental health and wellness based. Mondays and Thursdays, I do that wellness check-in, and I have maybe a topic that's more related to the mental health and emotional process and coping skills and navigation of the app and making sure people are not stressed out and burnt out. Friday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern on TikTok, I do a live that's more geared toward our physical health, because that's important too. And I have a whole host of subtopics under that physical wellness aspect of things. Sundays, my husband and I used to do more of a spiritual health live, because again, that spirit, mind, body connection, that's part of my brand, right? I feel like spiritually, mentally, emotionally, that's all the things that make us human. And so I would be remiss if I neglect, one, right? So I tend to look at all of that in a holistic way. And so my different days, I pick different things that I focus on. And sometimes I'm just on there checking in with folks, just checking in. But I love doing posts like that because it's something that people can save, they can take away, they can share it. Yeah, some practical tips, right? Absolutely.
Any plans for a future book, your own podcast show, and I do believe you have a YouTube channel. Any plans to put more content on a YouTube channel?
I'm thinking of the YouTube. I feel like there's so much going on with the social media platform. I'm like pacing myself. So yes, I'm on YouTube, but I haven't really broadcasted much on there or posted much on there. And I'm going to see how I can have all of them working together. And I did have plans for a podcast that should be coming up soon. It's going to be a podcast centered around mostly mental health discussions. And funny you should talk about the book. Several people have been planting that seed, like, oh, when's the book coming? Oh, the book, I'll think about that. It's quite a bit, and there's a lot to say. So I have to pace myself in how I say it and how I get it out there to the people who need it.
Well, when you do start up your podcast, if you need any assistance or any advice or any tips from my experience, please feel free to reach out to me.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I'll remember that.
Are you still good for another 9 minutes?
Oh, okay. Yeah. We can talk.
Okay. Can you tell our audience a little bit about the licensing part of being a professional health counselor? Mm-hmm. What steps involves in being licensed? And when somebody's looking for a therapist, what are some good signs to look for a good therapist? Because you don't want to end up getting the wrong person.
Well, that's right. And let's do the licensing piece first. And I can only speak to in my state. So whatever state that you're in, you want to look up your state board licensing requirements, right? So the state board is going to let you know how many hours you need, what, the degree requirements, the hours of practicum, which is where you're doing hands-on work, the hours of supervision that you're going to need. So sometimes it's signature to the different states. So you want to look up what your state board and the discipline that you're looking for. So social workers, counselors, marriage and family therapists, usually they'll kind of lump those together, and you want to look up what your state licensing requirements are and make sure that you're setting yourself up accordingly for that, for whatever you want your licensure to be in, and that you have the proper qualifications on that. And certainly when you're looking for a therapist, think of, you might have to shop around, because it's almost like not like you're dating, but it's the same process, right? You want to have a great match for you. And yes, you want someone who's knowledgeable, who's experienced, who's skilled, but you also want to know that, personalities might align, and it not just that your personality matches with the person, because sometimes there is not a match in terms of that personality, but clinically that match can be so good for you. You want to look at the experience, the skills in facilitating that warmth, that genuine positive regard. So that's a lot of what builds that initial rapport, right? How genuine the person shows up, not just what they know, but can I talk to you? Can I sit with you? Am I comfortable in the space that you're facilitating, right? Are you non-judgmental? Are you objective? Right? You want to be definitely not biased in any way. You don't want to be discriminatory in any way. So if people, I always marvel at people who come back. It's like, oh, they're comfortable, they're coming back, yay! But I show up as my authentic self, and it's worked for me for the past 11 years, right? Usually I have a very high retention rate with my clients, very high retention rate. People tend to stay with me for a few years. Sometimes I have to be like, no, good, go ahead, you go do life, you're fine. You don't need me. I have people who I've left one agency. I've had people who looked me up. They've left. I've moved into a different state. I've had people who inquire, like, I'm coming back to therapy. Are you available? So it's something that I am proud of. That I have really great rapport building skills, so that they want to come back and get that support. So you wanna look at that too. I say give it 3 sessions. Give it that first few sessions before deciding, give it an honest go. I think sometimes people prematurely leave a therapeutic, potentially good relationship because maybe there's something that they weren't happy with in the intake, but you want to give it a couple of sessions before deciding. And your therapist might surprise you, and don't be too, how should I put it? Try not to be too guarded, because here is someone who is trained to show up and be supportive and empathetic and have that compassion. It's almost like something that should be built in us, and I can't speak for other therapists, but really we should be showing up that way, sometimes maybe what you're looking for in terms of a background, in terms of expertise and the modalities, you want to look at that too. If you're going for substance abuse counseling, yes, a lot of the therapists can do it, but if you need more of a specialized level of care, you want to look for someone who is certified as a substance abuse counselor, right? If you're looking for something that's more trauma based, yes, we are trained in trauma, but you might want to look for someone who has a specialty in trauma training, like an EMDR or PTSD, a PE training. So you want to look for that. Marriage and family therapy. Yes, social workers and counselors can provide marriage and family therapy, but you might need more of a specialized care of someone who specifically studied marriage and family therapy. So it's okay to shop around and look around, but give it a fair chance, right? Give it a fair chance. Don't be too quick to therapist hop, I call it therapist hopping, because you want to build a rapport with that person and give them a chance to show up for you.
That's important. That's what I try to do with my guests on here too, is I want to build a rapport. If my guest's not quite sure about me, I tell them, I give them all my links to my show, any questions they have for me, because the more comfortable somebody is coming on here, the better the show, just like with you, with your clients as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to tell you, you certainly made me feel comfortable enough to come on. And I've seen snippets of your show, and I've looked at, the quality, and just you being, to me, you're very genuine and authentic yourself. So I felt comfortable enough to come on. It's like, and I'm glad I did.
Thank you so much. Is this your first Canadian podcast you've been on?
It is, Chris. Yes, you have a special place. Yes, it is my first Canadian podcast. So thank you for having me. You just reminded me about that.
It's the guests that make a great show. I'm just a host.
Right. No, but you play a big part in facilitating this space and for providing this kind of discussion for your audience. So bravo to that.
Well, I still get stereotyped because my show is live with CDP, Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. And some of the guests who don't know me, they're like, well, sorry, Chris, you only talk sports. And I'm like, no, I don't. I love sports, but I've also turned this into a very diverse show with guests and topics. And I'm trying to prove to the radio industry that being 53 is not a liability. Life experience and life skills are just as valuable as sitting in a classroom.
Absolutely. Yeah. You might have to, rebrand in some way or expand your branding in some way. Yeah.
That's what I'm working on doing it. By the way, if you got a couple more minutes, I just wanted to get you to answer this question. Can you just tell us about all the services you provide with Vision Counseling and Wellness? And are your sessions both in person and virtually?
Yes, they are. So I provide therapeutic support and interventions for individuals, couples, families. I used to see children before, but I'm not currently seeing anyone under, 17, 18 right now. I think it's specialized cases that I might, if I'm seeing a family, for instance, and I do need to have more of that individual work with a child in that family, I'm certainly going to provide that support. But usually adults 18 and up, providing treatment for anything, range of conditions, depression, anxiety, stress management, career coaching, general life coaching, Christian therapy, anywhere from, trauma informed care, mood disorders. So I do a wide range of supported interventions for people. And I am both online and in person. I'm at my office twice a week in person. And so those are very coveted days. A lot of people fill those days up. And I do provide support virtually as well in between. So there's some options for people.
And it was written in your bio too that you work with military families and their unique challenges.
Yes. So I did my dissertation. So the program that I studied, North Central University, we did a program of marriage and family therapy with a specialization working with military families. And it is still something that I do and offer, but I don't just accept military families as my only population. So I've broadened that. And those families are absolutely welcome to look me up and seek out services with me as well. So.
And as we wrap this show up, can you just explain the terms belittling, playing small, and people pleasing? Because I know I can relate to this.
Yeah. Well, those are like three different, kind of like three different things, but I see how they can be related. Now, belittling is, you don't want to be the person who's belittling another person, making them feel small, making them feel like they're somehow less than, being dismissive with them, making them feel like they're not worthy, valuable, or important. You never want to do that. That's just never the way you want to present yourself with anyone. You don't want to treat people like that. And on the other side of that, as the person on the receiving end, sometimes when you have an individual who might be either rooted in ego or someone who's very prideful or someone who's very intimidating, that can be the feeling, right? You can kind of feel like you have to shrink in their presence or, be small and really just not even have a voice sometimes, just because you're playing small really helps them to feel better. And it does a disservice to you. It really doesn't do any service to the person either. So we want to look at all the different relational dynamics there. And in people pleasing, there's some damage there too, because in your people pleasing, you're trying to please others. You're looking for some kind of validation. You're looking for some kind of approval. And I think the damage there is the striving for that, number one. But then when you don't get it, what it does to you, because now you're looking for that, you feel like you need that. There's something that you get from people pleasing. There's some kind of validation externally that you're looking for. You probably feel like your worth, it goes up if you please someone, but that shouldn't be the focus, right? So there are three different areas that I think you kind of lump them together, but they're really three different dynamics that we want to stay away from, both as the person treating someone in the way we treat someone and the way we present for ourselves. So a lot of this comes to, maybe think of your self-concept, right? So a lot of it has to do with how a person thinks about themselves, and when you think a certain way about yourself as an empowering, valuable, worthy individual, you're going to move through the world in a different way. You're going to move through the world in a more confident, empowered, way. And so sometimes when we don't have enough of that strong self-concept, it does lead to all of this, the belittling, the playing small, the people pleasing. And so we want to be careful with some of this here. It's very damaging. You never want to be someone who is a perpetrator of any of this, right? Yeah.
And toxic environments too. You can shrink when you're in a toxic environment, in a work environment or a home life too. And sometimes people are so used to being in a toxic environment, either at work or at home, it's difficult for them to leave it.
Yeah. And when you're forced to function in that way, it's learned behavior now, because now you're kind of you've had to function in this way. You're constantly on survival mode. You're constantly trying to thrive in an environment that doesn't work for you. So now you're doing that extra accommodation. You might even have a trauma response now because you've been so traumatized in that toxic environment. So definitely these are things that you want to, seek help and support for, because you can't function in that mode, for a very long time. You can't thrive in those kinds of environments and that way of thinking and conditioning for yourself. It's not healthy, definitely not.
As we wrap up the show, Dr. Young, what's a fun fact about yourself? And do you have a question for the host CDP?
Well, two fun facts. I do speak a little Spanish, a little bit of French. Sí, yo hablo un poco de español también. A little bit of Spanish, a little bit of French. I'm learning Italian now on Duolingo. I just posted about that. So I very much love the Romance languages, the modern languages, and I'm an auditory learner. I learn through hearing a lot. I tend to retain through what I hear. And so that's just a little fun thing. I dabble in the languages a lot, and French is my favorite. I don't really like English. I really don't. I think French is my favorite language. I wish I was super fluent in that language. I wish it was my native tongue, to be honest, because it's so beautiful.
I know a little French. Bonjour, ça va bien, très bien, merci beaucoup. So I did take French here in school, but you know what? I'm going to try to learn more French, because I think in any career that you're in, therapist or what I'm doing, I think it's important to be bilingual as well.
I know it does help, because now you can reach even a wider audience, absolutely. You got to add the little accent too, right? Yeah, I love that, Chris. Good for you. And the only question for you is, because you seem to love doing this on kind of like a broader scale, and like it went from sports to now it's something else. So are you going to rebrand yourself? Because now I think you're interested in so many different aspects of our lives here, and so it's not just the sports. So someone might like see your podcast and come on thinking you're talking about sports, and I'm certainly not the sports person.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I might rebrand it as the Chris Palme Show. As much as I like CDP or my initials, I eventually might rebrand it to the Chris Palme Show, because it's not just sports. It's anyone that has an interesting story and career and they feel comfortable coming on here. And I want to prove to the traditional radio stations, you know what? You don't even need to be in a radio station anymore. You can do broadcasting from your home nowadays with technology. So if the traditional radio doesn't work out for me again, I just want to continue to build this brand and continue to grow this, because I want this show to be very good storytelling, but I want my guests and my audience to learn something every show.
Right. And I think you'll continue to do well. I think so. Bravo to you. Thank you for having me on. Thank you guys for listening and watching. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Young. And where can our audience follow you again on social media, your website, and the best way of contacting you?
Right. So once again, it's yahvisioncw.com. That's YAHVISIONCW.com. And same with my email, yahvisioncw@gmail.com. My handles on Facebook and my professional page on IG, Yahvision Counseling. You'll see me there as Yahvision Counseling, and on TikTok, I'm Dr. Young Mom. So, happy to connect. Yeah.
And I have your virtual and in-person sessions information on my ticker as well.
Well, nice of you. Thank you for that. Thank you for showcasing me and having me on today, Chris. Happy to be here, and I'll be back if I'm invited.
Yeah, definitely like to have you back on again in the future. And please let me know when your first podcast show comes. I will be glad to promote it on my social media pages and would love to watch it. Have you thought about doing audio or something similar to this?
I'm going to be doing both the audio and the visual.
Video.
I'm going to be doing I'm going to be doing both, and I've secured a place to do my recordings and all that. I'm just kind of still exploring what I'm able to do, and then I'll definitely be pushing it and promoting it. So I'll let you know.
Check out StreamYard.com. If you're looking to do what I'm doing, StreamYard.com, they have basic free plans or paid professional plans. I don't work for StreamYard, but I've used them for 5 years. So that's just another option, or Zoom too.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much for giving me a little more than 45 minutes. I apologize, but I want to say thank you, Dr. Young, for coming on here. And I would definitely like to have you come back on again in 2026 because there's a lot more I could talk to you about as well.
Absolutely. Thank you again. Bye, everyone.
Wishing you and your family a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday Season, Happy New Year. And give me a little bit of time tonight, and I will send you the full video, the audio, and some reels and clips, and I will tag you in as well, Dr. Young.
Oh, thank you so much. And happy holidays to everyone as well. Take
Thank
care.
you so much. You too. Good night.
Good night.
All right, everyone, that wraps up season 12, episode 29, overall 634 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership here in Guelph. And I want to say thank you to my guest again, Dr. Psyche Young, the founder of Vision Counseling and Wellness. And she is a licensed professional mental health counselor in the city of Philadelphia. By the way, her virtual and in-person sessions 255 South 17th Street, 29th floor, Philadelphia, or you can email her at yavisioncw@gmail.com or 929 277 7269. So thank you to Dr. Young, a licensed professional mental health counselor, for coming on our show today. And please check her out on her social media pages. I will put them on here as we wrap up this show on the bottom of the ticker. And I do have another announcement to make, guys, and I'm excited about this. This is going to be my next show. The next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, sponsored and brought to you by BarryCullen.com, is going to take place on Tuesday, December 16th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern with my special guest, Casey Johns, a Nashville country music recording artist, and she just released her recent song called Best Seat in the House. Best Seat in Her House is her latest single, and Casey Johns is one of the hot upcoming Nashville recording artists, country music stars out there as well. So if you like music and country music, please check out Casey Johns on Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show tomorrow, Tuesday, December 16th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. And then this Friday, I believe Friday, December 19th, 1 o'clock p.m. I have a special guest. He's a friend of mine, a friend of the show. He is an author, and he's also a Buffalo sports historian. His name is Greg Tranter, and he is the co-host, or not the co-host, the co-author of One Bills Drive, a book about the Buffalo Bills' greatest home games at Highmark Stadium, along with Bud Bailey. So Greg's going to, Greg is going to talk to us about his latest book with Bud Bailey about One Bills Drive and their 53-year history at Highmark Stadium. And Greg was at the Bills-Patriots game as well. So tomorrow, Casey Johns, 3:30, and then Friday, December 19th, 1 o'clock with Greg Tranter. And we're going to talk about his latest book that he co-wrote with Bud Bailey called One Bills Drive as well. And as we wrap up this show, guys, as always, at Barry Cullen Chevrolet, get up to $120 in instant savings on GM genuine parts, brake pads, and rotors, and a no-charge, that's right, a no-charge brake inspection at Barry Cullen Chevrolet, located at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. There's a 30-day brake price match guarantee. More details at barrycullen.com or visit Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall, and tell them that Chris Palme sent you as well. With Christmas coming up, what a better way than give yourself a gift from yours truly, CDP. I am now on Cameo.com. Type in cameo.com/Chris Palme. I do Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, Happy Anniversary, Happy Birthday. If you want to ask me questions about my 3 talk shows, some of my favorite guests in interviews and sports memorabilia or memories, check me out on cameo.com/Chris Palme. Book your Cameo now, and I look forward to doing your request. You can now follow me on Blue Sky Social. Blue Sky Social is like what Twitter X used to be, at Live with CDP19. That's at Live with CDP19 on Blue Sky Social. If you're looking to adopt a pet, Check out the Cambridge and District Humane Society at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0, or visit their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the animals and pets up for adoption, their profiles are there as well. And I want to say thank you to everyone who purchased a 2026 Cambridge District Humane Society calendar from me. I sold 40 calendars and raised $400 for the Cambridge District Humane Society. And if you still want a calendar, they still have some down at the shelter at 1650 Dunbar Road, or go on their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org, to purchase your calendar or one of their 50/50 tickets as well. And right now, they're always looking for dog food, cat food, pet food, paper towels, garbage bags. They do have an Amazon wish list on cambridgehumanesociety.org. They do a really great job down there getting pets adopted into good homes with good families as well. So a big shout out to Michelle and the staff at the Cambridge District Humane Society. And I volunteer down there twice a week as a dog walker. And I was down there today and walked Christopher and Daisy, who are both up for adoption. So if you're looking for a pet, look at the Cambridge District Humane Society. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, is live streamed on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on Instagram. I am trying to figure out how to get this show live streamed on TikTok for another platform. That would give me 7 platforms. So bear with me, and hopefully I will have this on TikTok very soon. You can check out my website, beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. You can also follow me on TikTok at Chris Palme. I post a lot of content on TikTok. I'm a full-time content creator, and I've also had a number of guests I've had on the show from TikTok. So look me up, TikTok at Chris Palme. Follow, like, and share. StreamYard is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're into webinars or live streaming, check out StreamYard.com. They have basic free plans, paid professional plans like I do. And if you're a business that does a lot of webinars, go to StreamYard.com and contact their sales department for pricing. And I've been with StreamYard now for 5 years, and I give them a big thumbs up. Finally, guys, Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. The audio version is on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, TuneIn, YouTube Music, Good Pods. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. And thank you to 70 countries around the world for listening to this show. And I have over 10,000 plays and listens and downloads on Spotify. Thank you so much as well. And finally, guys, you can email the show at cpalme19@gmail.com. Any comments, questions, suggestions would be greatly appreciated. And if you're also like my work on my YouTube channel and my talk shows, you'd like to support or tip the host, I am on PayPal.com. Type in Chris Palme. And if you'd like to contribute to this show through PayPal, Chris Palme as well. Finally, guys, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, X. I'm on Threads, Instagram, LinkedIn, Blue Sky Social, everywhere except Snapchat. And remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Chris Palme Live with CDP Talk Show. Subscribe, like, and share as well. And that is about it for tonight's show. Again, I want to say thank you to my special guest, Dr. Psyche Young, for coming on, a licensed professional mental health counselor out of Philadelphia. And we have Monday Night Football tonight, guys. As we wrap this up, Miami 6-7, take it on Pittsburgh 7-6 tonight, 8:15 kickoff. And NBA, we have the Detroit Pistons 20-5, taking on the Boston Celtics tonight. The Celtics did end the Pistons 13-game winning streak 2 weeks ago. So Pistons Celtics tonight, 7:00, and Monday Night Football, Miami and Pittsburgh. And the Eagles, big win last night, 31-0 over the Raiders. Please check out my game recap on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, all my social media sites for my thoughts on the Eagles' big win over the Raiders as well. That is about it. Again, thank you to Dr. Psyche Young for coming on here tonight. And thank you to everyone watching this live stream and on my audio platforms. And also, if you're a business that's looking to advertise with CDP Media Productions on Live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show, email me at cpame19@gmail.com or DM me on my social media pages. I look forward to hearing from you and working with you and your business and getting it advertised on my platforms, which I'm on 21 as well. That is about it for tonight, guys. If you're in the Ontario area, please stay warm, and we will see you back here tomorrow, December 16th, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 Central Time, with Nashville recording country music superstar Casey Johns. Have a good night, everybody. And again, thanks for watching and listening to Live with CDP Sports Talk, hosted by Chris Pame and brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership here in Guelph. Good night, everybody.